Hello, and thank you for joining us. Tonight, let's just go down to business and discuss an important subject that is so much interesting to us, all of us. Today, we'll be looking at the subject matter that refers to the fact that why do Christians actually call Jesus the Son of God? Because that is our area of concern today. Focus rather. The Muslims denied in Surah Al-Ikhlas, chapter 112 of the Quran, verse 3, specifically declared that God or Allah do not have a son, and it's not worthy of Allah to have a son. And he do not have one, he was not born and did not born anyone. Therefore, referring to anyone as a son of God is shirk, or it is committing an unforgiven sin, according to the teaching of the Quran. In fact, it is not benefiting or good for Allah to have a son, because he do not have a consort, according to chapter 6 of the Quran, verse 115 to 16. Now, let's focus on the fact that why do the Christians call Jesus Christ? Or why is Jesus acknowledged or being called as the Son of God? Now, let's take it from the Quranic perspective without even going to the Bible yet. The Quran talks about the fact that Jesus' birth was such miraculous to the extent that it is the Spirit of God who came in Maryam. According to account narrated in Surah Al-Imran, chapter 3 of the Quran, from verse 43 down to 50, it clearly gives us the account of how Jesus Christ's birth was to be. The angel is believed to be Gabriel or Jibril, actually came and approached Mary, explaining to her how Jesus' birth was going to be. In Surah to Maryam, that's chapter 19, from verse 16 down to 21. In fact, down to 31. It gives us the account of how Jesus' birth was all going to be as well. The angel specifically said, Gabriel, saying to Mary that she was going to be pregnant. Mary insisted that, no, I cannot be pregnant because I do not know and have not been with any man before. How can that be? The verse in the Quran clearly states that Allah, in his power, he have the power to do and undo, and therefore he will make it happen in his own way and as it pleases him. And so Mary said, oh, in that case, let his will be done, as the Quran put it. And therefore, as it happens, Mary became pregnant of that. And chapter 21, verse 91 of the Quran told us that it is the Spirit of God or the Spirit of Allah that came into Mary. And that spirit makes Mary pregnant. Pregnant by some people in the society who we are busy saying she must have committed some kind of, with their fornication or all what have you, and resulted to this pregnancy. But the Quran also gives us some striking response to that it was even Jesus Christ in his mother's womb that defended his mom by saying that, no, it wasn't a kind of thing. It was a sign to mankind. You know what I'm saying? So the Quran is clearly giving us that the fact that Jesus was conceived of a virgin as established, and that his conception was based on God and the Spirit of God or Allah, not intervention of humankind was involved. So the angel clearly told Mary that you will be pregnant and the pregnancy will come from God in his own way and power. So you don't need to worry yourself about the fact that you have not known a man. You don't need to know a man, because God have a way of doing his own things, and he actually did it. And Jesus was born a pious and a righteous child of Mary or Maryam. Now, three things to consider. One, the virgin birth, which corroborate with what the Bible has, a similar account. Secondly, the fact that a man was not involved. It was God's mighty power that was in operation in that. And then thirdly, the fact that the God through the angel had explained how it happened, that it is his spirit, the spirit of Allah, that actually came in her and she became pregnant. So, and that the same pregnancy later have Jesus born. And we have Jesus who actually was born and did existed. You get what I'm saying? Now, we've just established this fact. And since it has been established on these three different scenario or this way, then let's look at it also in a much more wider way to clarify why and how Jesus became a son of God. Naturally, every man has a father, or every child has a father. A father is simply a person who is responsible to a pregnancy, or who might have a kind of either intercourse or a relationship or intimacy with a female gender to result into pregnancy or conception. That is the biological form that anyone who meet with a woman, be it of human or animal, the outcome of that meeting could be pregnancy, because there will be an exchange of semen, otherwise called sperm, that can produce a child, because it will fertilize an egg in the woman or in the female human or nature, and that will bring a child to bear. So in that case, we found in these verses that Mary was a virgin, which has been established. So no human intervention. She don't even know a man prior to that. And that she actually put to bed finally. She actually born without knowing a man. So who impregnated her? That should be the question. The Quran answered it, because the angel never said that he will impregnate her. No. And the Quran equally said that, the angel equally said that no man, and there was no man contracted to do this job of impregnating her. Nowhere is mentioned. So the simple analogical or logical answer and response, even biologically, is the fact that someone in the person of whom the angel spoke on behalf must have been responsible to the pregnancy, and he even hinted, the angel had even hinted on that Allah will do that by himself. So Allah sent down his spirit, and his spirit went into Mary and got Mary pregnant. And subsequently, we have a Mary who had a son in Christ Jesus. So the simple question to answer, I want to ask the Muslim Ummah, if you say Jesus Christ is not a son of God, our simple question is, who impregnated Mary? The Quran answered it. It says that it was Allah who sent his spirit in Mary, and Mary became pregnant. In chapter 21, verse 91. Since Allah was responsible, and the spirit of Allah should be, because God is spirit, and therefore the spirit of God is God. And therefore, since the spirit of God went into Mary and get Mary pregnant, it is simply logical to say God is responsible and the father of that child. And that is simple to say that Jesus is the Son of God, either logically or even spiritually. But if you chooses to dispute that fact and try to create an argument out of it, then you should also help us scientifically or otherwise to prove who actually was responsible for the pregnancy. Because by the time we see or we find who was pregnant or pregnanted Mary, then it can clearly be established the person should be and is the father of Jesus Christ. So it is even simple to put it in that way. If you don't want to believe and understand the spiritual aspect of how and what the Christians meant by saying Jesus Christ to be a son, not referring to the fact that God had to have intercourse, but that through his power he can do and undo, which we have seen so many of them he has done, so many things that do not need a human intervention, do not need an extra power, but he did whatever he wants at will and it happens. So if you don't want to believe in that order, then you must logically believe that someone, whoever, that ever existed in humankind or any nature must have someone who have a cause to his existence, and whoever have a cause or caused you to be, then he must be the father and must be responsible to that. And that is why the Christians can boldly say, both logically and spiritually, that Jesus is indeed the Son of God. And if the Muslims insist otherwise, they should quickly help us to provide the father of Jesus Christ. But some always do argue that some of the Muslims do claim that Jesus is so ridiculous to think that way, that no, it was God has a power to create anything he wants at will, and therefore God can just say kun fayakun. He can just say at 18 to happen, and 18 will just happen. That in fact there is a verse in the Quran which equally claim that Jesus's birth, or Jesus's creation rather, it said that is not different from that of Adam. Really? Are you really serious? Can that be taken seriously to say that Jesus's kind of person or creation, like they put it, or birth is not different from Adam? I don't want to take this serious, but let's even look at it. I just want us to take this for something to discuss very important, because let's look at it even. Adam was not created actually. Adam was not born. Adam was created. Jesus was actually born like any other human being. So if Jesus was born like any other human being, so you cannot in any way compare Jesus's kind of person or kind of coming to be with that of Adam. Adam never go through the womb. Adam never go through childish. Adam do not have a mother and do not have a father in any form. He was formed from the dust as a grown man. He didn't learn how to talk. He didn't learn how to eat. He didn't learn anything. He was already a grown-up man, made full man. But Jesus was conceived, like the Quran said, and the Bible confirmed it. And his mother must have go through the normal childbirth pains, 9 months, born like any other person, and grow and crawl and do things. So it can't just in any way compare the both. But for argument's sake, they do try to bring that, to jumble it together and to make it, it's just one of those things that God can do. God cannot do a thing. There is difference between creation and birth. But being born is different from being created. We must distinguish those words, distinguish them. And this is clear that, and that is what we have for today. So I am sure that with this, it's now clear to you that indeed Jesus has the reason to be referred to as a son of God. And the Christians have all reasons, both logically, scientifically, and even spiritually, to refer to Jesus as the Son of God, because it simply makes sense to do that. Moreover, God is so wonderful in his own way of revealing himself to mankind. He has chosen to reveal himself in our generation in the person of his Son, Jesus Christ. And we said hallelujah in the highest. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, share, comment, and raise more questions or concerns for us to address in our next video. Thank you until we hear from you and hear from us again. Bye for now.